Maria and I have bought a hybrid Toyota car. And it says, you know, we're making a small difference in terms of the whole imprint or footprint of things.
And General Motors is doing their bit with cars that run on less gas and electricity, and everybody's trying, really, because there's a future for it all.
Crude I make in South Louisiana sells at a $5 premium. You sell it at $3. That's supply and demand.
You don't get up there. You look like you look like you've been working in the oil.
Don't worry about it.
You've heard the saying, he who holds the gold makes all the rules. Well, it's black gold.
But hey, we're having a good time and we're laughing all the way to the bank.
Exxon just made a record today, it was on Drudge Report, with $39 billion in profit last year.
Over last year.
We all know the people that are dancing right now, but it's just like, fuck, how do you get them to diversify?
Well, yes, that princes are always late because that's their prerogative.
Out of wonderful childhood, and out of the blue, I'm in Paris, working with this phenomenal hairdressers, and out of the blue, I'm in Houston. 14 years later, I am Saron.
I've been out with everybody in the city, and it's all been two thumbs down with me, but they're all cool guys.
We are a wildcatter in the biofuels oil business.
Willie was very much opposed to the invasion of Iraq, and I was for it because I thought it'd be a good idea to spread democracy in the Middle East and to knock off a dictator here and there. Willie was smoking a joint the size of a large kosher salami on this occasion, so I was having trouble getting through to him. And finally, after a while, I said, look, Willie, this guy is a tyrannical bully, and we've got to take him out. And Willie says, no, he's our president, and we've got to stand by him.
So hard.
Houston, for the United States, is clearly the center of oil and gas related activities. I really truly believe it's the international center of oil and gas activity as well. I'm Neil Bush. I'm at a wonderful gathering put together by one of the more dynamic Houstonians, Joanne Herring, who's brought us together to meet Frederick Wilhelm, who's a descendant of the ruling family of Germany. Houston's special in terms of who's been attracted into Houston. And Houstonians kind of carry that Texas spirit of, you know, we're bigger and better than any other place.
I have heard that, say about 80 or 100 years ago, it was a mere swamp here.
My grandfather realized that oil was going to replace coal and lumber, and he decided to come to Spindletop, Texas in 1901 when there was a big gusher and wildcats, and there were oil rigs all over the place.
I would like to ask you to hold hands, and we're going to ask Sarah to say grace, please.
Keep us ever mindful of the needs of others. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
The oil people right now are contracting futures price of oil for $82 and $83 a barrel. That's pretty high, and so it's giving everybody incentive to drill deep.
There's no reason for the price of oil being at $80 a barrel right now.
People want it. Yeah, they're buying all they can.
We're all competing with China for oil.
They are controlling the price, China and India.
If we're ever going to get to drill in the Anwar area at all. It's going to have to be with some show of how we protect the environment.
California too,
Yeah,
East
California,
Coast. You know, it's
right.
going to happen. It's a matter of when is it going to happen. Right now, the environmentalists are saying, you know, don't drill in my backyard. But you know, if the oil is there and we're still dependent on oil, at some point, it's going to happen.
Heidi's the guru. The guru of Houston. She can make a sow's ear into a silk purse, which is an old Southern expression.
Now, Julia Roberts is from Georgia. And yes, that's Southern, but there's nothing like a Texas woman. So, were you able to give her any tips?
She never asked me anything, but everybody says that she is doing a magnificent job, so it's probably better.
Personally, what does it mean to you to have this movie made?
It means a lot. I thought it was totally forgotten.
Tell me a little bit about your life.
I got involved in the oil industry because I married it. So when I married Bob Herring, who was more or less the founder of Enron, then we put the CEOs of the companies he knew together with the heads of state that I knew, and it was a lot of fun. Mine were kind of a jet-set crew, and his were all these very serious CEOs, and they liked each other. How did I get involved with the Afghans? Because I was an advisor to President Zia, I was there and I saw what was happening in Afghanistan. I asked myself, what are the Russians doing in Afghanistan? And then it hit me, the Straits of Hormuz. Why was that dangerous? 2 tankers at that time sunk in the Straits of Hormuz, and the energy to the United States would be cut off.
The underlying reality is that we as Americans need to be very concerned about stability in the Middle East that continues to provide the energy that the world needs, not just the U.S., but the rest of the world. Oil and gas were the equivalent of, in the industrial world, the equivalent to oxygen to the human body. That oil and gas is an absolutely necessary ingredient to our economic well-being.
Otherwise you look like it's a jewelry show, and I don't want it to look that way. There's plenty colors, whatever else you want to wear, you wear. But this is so full that you don't need any more.
It's just beautiful. But without earrings. Well, even maybe something very, very small. Earrings.
John King earrings will be the queen. It's a spectacular piece of jewelry. Edwardian, 1910, worn by the Queen Mary. Really stupendous piece of jewelry. This is very well known to young folks because it was worn by Madonna on her wedding.
Race car driver.
Yes. Someday I'm going to Germany and drive on your Autobahn.
Oh.
Wish I could take my Porsche with me over, but...
Yeah. We export nice cars to your country. Right. And
I drive one.
I'm dizzy. We are practicing for tomorrow evening. We don't want to fall down in front of the world.
Kinky Friedman, I'm a bullshitter from Texas and a wildcatter. Definition of politics is poly means more than one, and ticks are blood-sucking parasites. I ran as an independent in 2006. And I was the first independent to get on the ballot since Sam Houston 154 years ago. That's how hard it is for an independent to... That tells you something right there. What's your name?
Now, we voted for this.
I can't believe we lost.
I can't either. How do you do? It's really nice to meet you.
I suggested Willie Nelson as my energy czar. And people laughed and thought that was very funny. Well, Willie is about as well connected to the American farmer as anybody. She could have had a network of farmers' co-ops selling biodiesel and alternative fuels all along the Texas highways and roadways. Now, if Texans would have tried this grand experiment, I believe prices at the pump would have dropped in Texas. And it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't be up to the Saudis to decide, you know, they play the jukebox and we dance to the tune, which is the way it is right now.
Basically what we're doing here is we're taking plant oils or animal fats and converting them into methyl esters, which is biodiesel. This is Charles Ack. He's our chemist.
I am unabashedly a geek, science geek. My goal would be to make some type of renewable energy in a responsible manner. This is like our pilot scale algae production unit. They'll produce 10 to 20 times or more oil than soybean will. We can filter the algae off, extract the oil away, and ultimately we'll be able to produce biodiesel from this oil.
This is a variety of biodiesel that's made out of different feedstocks. Olive oil, they use a lot of olive oil in Europe to make biodiesel. Castor oil is cheap. So you can make biodiesel out of any type of feedstock. Houston's the model for biofuels in power generation in the United States. If we're able to solve it here, then it can be solved anywhere in the U.S. This is the control center for a turbine, what we believe is the world's first turbine run entirely on biodiesel. This turbine will replace 10,000 homes of electricity that were previously provided by coal-generated electricity. And it'll power a significant part of the Woodlands, Texas.
Now the prince. Where are you, prince? The prince comes, and then everybody else comes. And you must not be late. That princes are always late because that's their prerogative.
Ooh.
Right now, we're a hydrocarbon-based society, and I don't know when that's going to change. It will change eventually, but people complain about the price of oil, but that's what is it's going to be economics that drive these alternative sources.
This is probably, my family might not appreciate my saying this. I think it's great that Al Gore was given recognition for his service to this world by raising awareness, and there's lots of room for debate on whether he's right or wrong, but give the guy credit for stepping out there and making a difference and trying to rally troops and forces of good to solve a potential problem that we face as a world.
Well, what's stopping us is not just the oil companies, but the politicians and lobbyists who are connected to them. Yeah, they have nothing to gain from biodiesel. They have nothing to gain from alternative fuels or from the farmers doing well.
His Royal Highness, Prince Friedrich Wilhelm of Prussia, escorting Miss Joanne King Herring.
East started to put press releases out through OPEC saying that they don't want to see the U.S. spend a significant amount of money reducing their dependence on foreign oil, which is a strange thing to say because that's our goal all along has been to use less. At some point in time, they realized that they're going to have to be able to use both ethanol and biodiesel as additives in their fuel, but they've got to be behind the introduction of renewable fuels, or together we won't be able to sign a Kyoto treaty that would allow us to trade with the other countries.